I'm Kathleen, and today Larry and I are here with Mick Cover. Hi, Mick.
Hey guys, it's so good to see you. It's
so
been way too long.
Yeah. I know, and from across the country, this Zoom brings us together.
Right, yeah. So thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, man. Yeah, but you're right. At least we got Zoom. At least I get to see you both after 17 years. So that's one good thing that came out of all this.
I saw someone post on Facebook today that there's no more snow days for kids because they'll just do a Zoom session.
Right. Yeah. I feel for kids like they don't have excuses. Like, oh, I got to stay at home. Oh, wait a minute. We all got to stay at home.
Yeah.
I am at home. Yeah. It's the worst.
Although so, as an instructor who has to make up the theater classes that are missed because of snow, it is kind of nice to know, well, it's your own fault if you can't show up because you're inside anyway. So
right. So now you just blame the internet. Oh, my dog ate the internet. That's what you got to say now. That's what you get. Welcome to 2020.
My dog lifted his leg on the box.
That's right.
Right, on the router. Yeah.
On the router.
Yeah, my dog peed on the router. Yeah.
I love it.
That's what you got to say.
What a world.
I know. So how are you guys?
We are good. And we want to thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So let's hear your story. So tell us, go back in time. No, when did you first get involved in theater?
Oh, wow. Well, I was always into it. Ever since I was a kid doing school plays. And as you know, in my tenure in North Carolina, I tried to do it professionally, like for, I forgot the word, money. Yeah, we all know how that turns out. So I've been a professional performer for about 25 years now, and that does include a lot of acting, the bulk of which happened during, as I say, my tenure in North Carolina when I got to meet you fine people.
Wow. And Larry, how do you know?
Well, I moved back to Raleigh in October '95 at the university, and the company had just finished a video for On Campus, and you were in it, and so was David Henderson, and so I knew who you were.
Yeah, David Henderson.
Yeah, met you in '96, and I just thought you were a phenomenal actor and stuff.
Oh, you should have been my agent. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That should be a skit. Your agent is also an actor who competes for roles for you.
Right. For the same roles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not good.
No, it's not. But either, I mean, if you get it or he gets it, at least he gets 10% if he loses. Right. So, yeah. So I guess it helps the agent, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
What was the first show you were in other than high school and college?
Like as a kid?
No, after high school and college.
After high school and college. Well, one thing that I had seen, and you guys will appreciate this, one thing I had seen during studying theater in college was the institution of A Christmas Carol. And I'm talking about Ira David Wood's version. And I had always seen it. I had always loved it. It was one of the reasons why I got into theater, although ironically I can't sing it, which is something that they told me throughout the rehearsal process when they finally did give me a role. So that was really sweet of them. But to answer your question, I think it was Ira David Wood's A Christmas Carol, or it was at the very least a Theater in the Park production. And I think A Christmas Carol was the first thing I latched onto. And I did a lot of Theater in the Park productions after that, and as well as Raleigh Little Theater and Burning Coal and some other people.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Did you have a mentor when you first started out, or?
Not really. I had a lot of, when I was in college and I was studying theater, I had a lot of professors who were, who just reminded me that this wasn't going to work. So that was fun. And then, of course, I got to work with directors like Ira David Wood, but I got to tell you, man, Carmen Manley, we both know very well. She taught me things about acting that still influenced me as a performer outside of theater. We can talk about that later if you want. But man, Haskell Fitzsimmons was the man as well. He taught me things about, again, not just as an actor, but as a performer and a storyteller that I will never forget. So they weren't exactly mentors, but they definitely influenced me, and I still think about them to this day.
Where did you go to school? College?
I went to NC State for 2 years. I defected and I graduated from Chapel Hill. I thought I was going to be a writer. And yes, and my journalism professors, they taught me an important lesson. They reminded me that that won't work either.
Oh,
So yeah, speaking of mentors, they spent a lot of time telling me, just crushing those dreams.
just get a real job.
Yeah, right. Get a real job. Yeah, so I thought I was going to be a writer, and ironically, I have written since then, in spite of them. But I thought I was going to be a writer, but then I was spending all of my time in rehearsal and at open mics and doing that kind of thing. And so that's how, once I graduated, I met you fine people.
Yay.
Yeah.
So have you ever gotten any really great advice, either about acting or just performing in general?
Other than it won't work.
Other than don't do it, yeah.
Yeah, other than don't do it.
Check your fly.
You're right. Well, that's an excellent. I was in a production of Much Ado About Nothing with Carmen Manley, who's again
I was
brilliant.
in that too.
You were in that too.
I was in it.
And there was a scene, Larry, I'm glad you mentioned that. There was a scene. Well, Carmen really shattered the fourth wall, especially in that show. And again, that influenced the way I approach storytelling, whether I was an actor or a magician or anything like that. It really influenced the way I approach storytelling from then on. And she would have me do things like literally crawl in between the seats of the audience. Like if I'm trying to get away from Beatrice, like I don't want her to see me, but I still want to eavesdrop. Right. So she would have me on elbows and knees doing an army crawl literally through the audience. And sometimes, and she would let me do whatever the hell I wanted to. So like if someone had an umbrella, I could grab it and then open it and then just keep crawling, screw property law. Right. I would just be carrying around this. So I'm on elbows and knees, and my director from Peace College, a guy named Kenny Gannon, another very passionate, driven, very talented guy. I army crawl past him. And this is in the middle of Much Ado, in the middle of Shakespeare. Kenny Gannon leans over to me and he whispers, "Don Pedro's got his fly open." And I'm like, dude, we're trying to recite Shakespeare and I'm army crawling. Can you give us a break? Can you cut us a little slack? And that's what he got from the production, that Don Pedro's fly was down. So thank you, Larry, for reminding me of that wonderful memory of North Carolina theater. Yeah. So keep that fly up. So to answer your question, Kathleen, I think the best advice I ever got as a performer is from a friend of mine named Larry Evans. I did an interview with him on Zoom. And I'll never forget this. He once told me, check your fly. And Kathleen, I think that's the best advice to give you.
The worst thing is being on stage and thinking your fly's down and you're trying to...
And try to figure out how to jack it back up.
Yeah.
That might be worse than it being down.
Right.
And then by the time you double check and you realize that it has been up the whole time, you wasted all that blocking and all that business, as they call it in showbiz, business with the prop. Yeah, so that might be worse. So Kathleen, my second answer would be, a friend of mine, this is a true story. I was on a Zoom meeting with a friend of mine named Larry Evans, and he told me, maybe even worse is your fly was up the whole time, but you spend your entire Shakespearean monologue just doing this, just double checking. So that two answers, Kathleen, in 25 years of experience, I'm so glad my mentor, Larry Evans, taught me those two lessons.
Now, I had a costume designer told me that she never puts khaki pants on an old actor. I think you know why. Shake twice.
And thank you for that imagery. So Kathleen, my third answer, a friend of mine named Larry Evans, true story. We were on a Zoom meeting and he told me, you know what, never put khaki pants on an elderly actor. And that'd be three answers for you. So I hope everybody at home benefits from this.
All right, I'm going to take notes. All right, thank you.
Please do. This is a master class in performing. I'm so glad we're doing this.
Do you have a favorite actor, theater or film, or
other than Larry Evans?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. And me and Kathleen Rudolph. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Right. Other than
other than the holy trifecta. Other than we three. I love anybody who makes it work.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love anybody, and community theater taught me this, especially in Raleigh. Man, there's nobody braver than like a 9-to-5er, than a weekend warrior who's going up on stage and trying to do their thing, and they know they could get hammered in the newspaper
Right.
or by a critic. And that goes from the weekend warrior to the 9-to-5ers to the rest of us who are all in the trenches. I just admire anybody who can pull it off. And I admire their courage, because what we do is so courageous. I admire everybody, to answer your question.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So tell me about your journey from acting to magic. And I know when you were here in North Carolina, you were a magician as well.
Yeah.
In fact, Larry, I don't know if you know this, but our cul-de-sac had Cinco de Mayo parties. And when we first moved in, all the kids were little and they were, running around, and you had to watch them because that's what parents have to do. And we got this great idea. Let's hire Mick. He can do a magic, like an hour of magic, and we could at least have an hour free and they'd be watching him. And we did that, and the hour turned into at least 3, because he started making animal balloons, and all the kids in the neighborhood just showed up, and the poor guy was there till, I don't know, 12. It was very
kids from Wake Forest made the commute. They were shipped in on bus. Yeah, you crank out those balloon animals and kids will show up from anywhere. Yeah, so Kathleen, you had a lot to do with my genesis as my current career. But to answer your question, to me, there wasn't much difference between the two, except if I booked a magic show, I'd be more likely to get, oh man, the words keep failing me, paid. You're far more likely to get paid. And then the irony would be I would end up more likely to work with actors. And you had asked about some of my dream, the people I look up to, my heroes. I would be more likely to work with them as a magician than I ever did as an actor. And I could just rattle off the number of actors and celebrities that I got to work with as a magician that I never thought I would get to, and I definitely never would have if I had continued acting, I'm sorry to say. So, but the other thing is, even in Raleigh, I was experimenting with injecting some magic into theater anyway. I was already doing that a little bit in Ira David Wood's Theater in the Park, Shakespeare in the Park productions. And of course, A Christmas Carol uses a lot of eye candy that a stage magician might use anyway. And it's all storytelling. So I didn't see a whole lot of difference. So a lot of the things I learned as an actor, I still use today as a magician. And and ever since then, I've seen a production of The Tempest by Teller, of Penn and Teller.
Wow.
And it was just magic after magic after magic. And it was amazing. And I'm writing a play right now that has a lot of magic in it. So again, I don't see a whole lot of difference between the two.
So cool. So do you have a bad audition story you'd like to share?
All of them. Yeah, all of them. By the way, guys, these are really good questions. Does anybody ever ask them of you two? Like when do people get to find this dirt about you two? When does that happen?
Larry's interview is on our website. You can check it out.
Okay.
Yes.
I learned 3 of my best acting lessons from Larry, and I bet if I watch that episode, I'll only get more. And so, Kathleen, when do we see your tell-all confessional? When does that happen?
All right, we'll have to do it again, Larry.
I interviewed her, but somehow it had technical problems.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It had, the server deleted them. Okay,
My
got it.
My dog.
Your dog ate the router. Your dog peed on the router. Your dog ate the internet. Yeah, welcome to 2020. Wow, okay. Well, all right. So I want to, when that episode becomes unearthed, Larry, I would really love to see that. I'm sorry.
Geraldo Rivera is going to dig it up.
He's going to find it in the vaults.
Yeah.
The Capone thing, kind of a bust, but behind the Capone vault is a second vault.
There you go.
Excellent. All right. I'm sorry. What was the question?
No, about auditioning.
Oh yeah. They were all terrible. It got to the point there's another actor out there that you guys probably know, Jay Chichula.
Yeah.
And he's actually he would succeed at auditions. and he and I would compare notes, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I got the part," and I'm like, "Screw you." So I would tell him about my experiences, and they were so bizarre, like repeatedly. Like, you're not going to get everything, but like every single experience was so bizarre. He was like, "You got to write this down," and I did, and I wrote a one-man show about it all. And it's just a list of all the bizarre things that happened to me, mostly in North Carolina, although some of it happened out here as well.
Oh,
But there's just so many greatest hits. One time, my agent Jackie Presley, you guys know Jackie,
Yeah.
and she would she would do her best to go to bat for me. And you remember when Dawson's Creek was filming out there?
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was filming in North Carolina, and they decided that the one thing they wouldn't use was North Carolinians. Yeah. So Jackie, another lesson taught me the 90% rule, where 90% of the time, the second you open the door, the casting director already knows if you got the part, about 90% of the time. This was her experience.
Oh,
Because so much of it is just based on look and
Right.
bearing. You know what I mean? That's what they want to see. So everything you did, all of your, "Oh, but I worked on my background and my backstory and my dialect coach. I hired a dialect coach and I wore the right outfit and all that crap." All that crap goes out the window because, according to Jackie, who is a professional agent, in her experience, about 90% of the time, they know the second you walk through that door. All the other work is irrelevant,
Wow.
about 90% of the time. So Dawson's Creek was filming in North Carolina, and there was a role for a college graduate. That was the description.
Yeah.
College graduate. So Jackie, she submitted me, and the casting director said I was wrong for the part. The entire description was college graduate. So apparently I had to send them my diploma.
I guess so.
Just right, because they said, "Oh no, he's wrong for the part." And Jackie said, "Well, since all you need is a college graduate, maybe you could use, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, a college graduate." So and it reminded me of the 90% rule.
Right.
That, they don't care. They weren't using North Carolinians, but only for like background work. And so she fought for me, and I auditioned. And after my audition, they decided that maybe I could play a college graduate.
Wow.
They gave me the part. It became recurring.
Oh.
And the second it became recurring, that's when Dawson's Creek announced they were canceling the show.
Wow.
So it was your fault.
So it was my fault. So yeah, so guys, I ended Dawson's Creek. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I mean, and that was the success story. I actually got the part.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about all the other auditions. I would audition, and I swear to God, halfway through the audition, the casting director told me, I'm not making this up, told me about his love of Jesus.
Yeah.
Halfway through the audition. And I'm like, line? Like, I studied this. Where is this scene? And I realized, one, he was going off script, and two, he just decided this was a good time to tell me about his love for Jesus. And you know what? I'm sure Jesus would be a great casting director. If you love Jesus, that's cool. Jesus, he was all about inclusion.
Right.
There you go.
So I'll bet he was a great casting director. But let's just say I was confused
Yes. I can
when
see
this
that.
casting director decided to launch into the monologue about his love for Jesus. I did not get that part.
Okay.
So yeah, there are just so many audition stories, but like the one I told you, that was my success.
Yeah.
So anyway, I still want to see the Kathleen episode. I want to know about your worst audition,
Right.
because that'd be fascinating. Larry, I'll bet your fly was down, or it was up and you weren't sure it was
I
down.
know.
I'm betting that was yours, Larry.
That was it.
Speaking of Jay DeChula, did he ever tell you that one time he was casting a play, and I won't say the play, and there was two actors with the same name, and he cast the wrong actor?
No.
He just both had the same first names, and the actor walked in like, "Oh crap, that's not the one I wanted to cast."
Did he commit? Like, did that guy keep
Yeah,
the
the guy
part?
played it.
See, it helps to have names like Larry or Kathleen because you might accidentally get someone else's role.
I
If you
was
got a name,
cast in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and then Larry David showed up.
and then Larry, and he screwed everything up.
I know.
Oh, oh, Larry David. Oh man. Yeah, they thought they were getting a Larry D. They got a Larry E. They were like one
They
letter
just
off.
messed up. They
Just
messed
a
up.
little bit. Oh man. Oh man. I feel your pain, brother.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Do you have a favorite show you've been in?
So many, but again, Kathleen, I gotta say that production of Much Ado About Nothing, where there was no fourth wall, and I got to do the army crawl, and my former director would tell me that my fellow actor had the fly down, and it just reminded me of sometimes the best theaters where anything goes, and there is no fourth wall. And Carmen told me this, and I've adopted it for everything. Carmen said to me that when Benedict speaks to the audience, which he does several times, and in a lot of the productions, there's still that fourth wall. He just kind of speaks to the air or whatever. And Carmen said, nope, you're speaking directly to the audience, and you will tell the audience things that you would not tell your best friend.
Oh.
You will reveal secrets to them that you wouldn't even tell your best friend. You might not even tell Beatrice. You wouldn't even tell your therapist. The audience is your confessor, and you will tell them everything because you don't care, because you trust them. And that was a relationship to the, and again, just breaking the fourth wall. And to me, this was kind of an introduction to immersive theater, which is huge out here, which has really taken over. And this to me was the introduction to immersive theater, and it changed everything. It changed the way I write, the way I storytell, the way I do magic. So that production of Much Ado About Nothing changed everything. So thank you, Carmen.
Yes, thank you, Carmen. Absolutely.
Yeah. When I want to know about this stuff from you guys.
That's
Okay.
chapter 2.
That's
so
chapter 2. All right, in the vaults. All right.
Play.
In the
Yeah.
Is there a role
Yeah.
you still want to play?
I got to play, speaking of magic, I got to play Prospero once.
Oh.
And one of the reasons why I was hired was because they wanted to put magic in it. And I've seen productions since then, including the production by Teller, where Teller injected magic into it. But the one that I was in was the first one I was aware of that I had ever seen, and I was in it. And the LA Times butchered me and called me inexperienced. This was after like 15 years of even professional theater with Kathleen, with you guys in North Carolina, and then professional theater out here. The LA Times butchered me, and my friends from North Carolina read the article. They're like, dude, wow. Was your fly down? I'm like, son of a, I didn't take the workshop from Larry yet. So I would love to do it again, kind of on my own terms, and not invite the LA Times. That's my dream. That's my dream role. Yeah. But yeah, I'm writing my second play right now that I hope to produce and also be in. It's about Sherlock Holmes. So that's my other dream role to make this happen as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were on stage or in your magic shows, like what is the best type of person to be on stage with? The best type of actor? Yeah.
Yeah, other than you two.
Yes.
Well, okay, so who would be my third choice?
Yes.
Okay, so you two, Tom Hanks. Those are the holy trifecta. Yeah, anybody you get along with. And I've discovered that it doesn't matter if they come from a different background, if they come from a different level experience. If you get along with them, there's going to be a chemistry there that just won't be found by, let's say you got lucky enough to perform with Tom Hanks. If he doesn't like you, you're screwed. You know what I mean? And he's professional enough and good enough to make it work, but you're going to be miserable.
Right.
And there's nothing better than being on stage or in any kind of creative endeavor where you are getting along with the person. I've worked with people who, I've worked with fellow actors who gave me notes during the rehearsal in front of the director, that kind of crap. And I tell you, Kathleen, I'm still trying to stay off the drugs, so you don't have to bring that up again. All right, but I don't think that was the right place
Oh, sorry. I'm
or
sorry.
time. I just don't. Yeah. So my point is, man, when you when you get along with somebody, oh, man, you know how it is. There's
I
just
know.
nothing better.
No,
And you have more fun. You discover more
course.
things. You want to play with this person. It doesn't even have to be romantic. And although you always hope, Larry.
Yeah, no.
So, but yeah, that's my favorite.
I
Other
always
than you
carry
two.
breath mints in my pocket on before I go on stage.
And I thank you for that. Our kissing scene. Oh, I remember that move. They called it the Larry move, and someone thought you had arthritis, and I was like, no, Larry's a professional. He's got breath spray, not arthritis. I know we're all getting old.
I know.
It's breath spray. Yeah. So thank you, Larry, for that. That was some of the best French kissing I've had in my career.
I work on it. I practice.
Yes, you do. Yes, and it pays off. That's the other kind of the guy who does their homework. They
Right.
practice on the pillow. They do the arthritis. They practice on the pillow. They bring that work to rehearsal.
Oh, I practice with my dog.
or their dog. When
Dogs
their
are
dog,
okay.
the dog is done peeing on the router, and you pick him up, and you just lovingly, you just practice, and then you bring that work. That's called doing the work, isn't it, Larry?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, doing the work. my cat is like shivering right now. She's like, don't you frickin' dare.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's not happy. Okay. All right. Okay. Did we answer the question? I don't even remember. Okay, good.
Now, we all have great moments on stage. Can you tell us one of your great moments?
Okay. So I don't know. When I was doing Shakespeare in the Park with our friend Ira David Wood, and they were doing it every summer. It was great. I got to be in a production of Julius Caesar.
I turned the road down.
Yeah, they wanted Larry Evans, and I showed up. It was some weird typo. Some papers got shuffled. They wanted Larry Evans, and I found out later they were like, "Well, we can't tell Mick to go home. Let's just give him the part." Yeah,
I think
Larry,
it was just a guard or something,
right. Yeah, third spear holder from the left.
Yeah.
So we had a Julius Caesar who was very, I guess, in a stroke of genius typecasting, he was very into himself, and he would praise himself all the time. And at first I thought maybe this was some weird character work, and he's the character.
Oh.
It was work on himself. So, and he would do these bizarre things, and then try to justify them later or rationalize them later in order to keep his ego where it needed to be. So there was one time where there was one rehearsal where he was being stabbed by the senators, and he would slowly walk up this staircase. It was very dramatic. In spite of the fact that he was being stabbed to death, he was still the ruler. He still had the power, and he would slowly ascend. Well, one rehearsal, he almost fell off the stairs. Like, it was a little too real. Maybe it was method. And it became clear that he just forgot where he was, and he got blinded and all that stuff. But later he said, wasn't that great how I added that moment? And I'm playing Mark Antony, who loves this man, and I would just have to say, yeah, It was Brutus who saw this and said, wow, Caesars wobble, but they don't fall down. And this was the guy that I had to love. So and he would do things like this. So anyway, to answer your question, it was during performance one night. And now this was years ago. Theater in the Park may have vastly changed, but they had like this hangar, this like open area where the tech people would hammer away, and they would work on the sets. Now, they would often do this during rehearsal, so we would have to literally battle. And during Julius Caesar, we would just pretend it was battle noises. So, here comes the enemy. They were bam, bam, bam. Yes, the enemy. They're creating a house. Like we would just try to use it in the moment. So During performance, the senator stabbed Caesar. He slowly stumbles up the staircase. This time, Caesar did wobbled, but he did not fall down. And so he lies on the top of the staircase. It's like a bier. And these guards, Larry, I think this was you. This was some of your best work.
Yeah.
They would pull this shroud over Caesar, this sheet, and the body of Caesar would be on stage the rest of the time. So when I deliver Friends, Romans, Countrymen, he would still be there. So David decided that now I, Mark Antony, could literally refer to the body of Caesar during Friends, Romans, Countrymen, instead of the actor just exiting.
Right.
He's literally there. So one night, Caesar wobbles and doesn't quite fall down. He gets to the top. The two guards pull the shroud over him, and I launch into this monologue, and I hear this frickin' buzzsaw, and again, like this hangar where the shop where they build everything is adjacent to the actual theater, and normally they would do this during rehearsal, but they had never done this during an actual performance in front of the audience. I was like, what the frick, dude? Like, are you building for A Christmas Carol now? This is summer Shakespeare. You've got a month or two. And it's my job to be Mark Antony, to launch one of the biggest monologues of all time, to be in the moment. And there's this frickin' buzzsaw. And I'm like, what? I can't believe this. And I can see, because the hangar, that I'll call it, is so big, the opening is so wide, you can see the people working in it, even while you're on stage. So while I'm trying to rattle off the Shakespeare, I can see it out of the corner of my eye. And it dawns on me that the shop is empty. I'm like, is it haunted? Like did someone turn on the buzzsaw? Now I'm freaking out. Now there's no one to blame except for maybe a ghost, which is a whole new problem for me.
Yeah.
So I'm still rattling off. I'm thinking, what is going on? Who turned on the buzzsaw? And I gesture to Caesar, and I look up, and I look at his body. And Larry, I hate to give you a note, man, after all these years, because this was some of your best work. But the guards had missed. And when they pulled the shroud over him, it was supposed to cover the entire body, like covering a corpse. They accidentally missed. And the hem of the sheet landed on Caesar's lips. And I look up at the corpse of Caesar, and the hem of the sheet is flapping. And he's going, the corpse of Caesar is asleep and snoring during Friends, Romans, Countrymen. How do I know? One, because I can hear the freaking buzzsaw. Two, there's the visual evidence of the hem of the flap. And I'm like, what the? Okay. So I changed the blocking. I think the LA Times was there. I'm sure they hated me. But I changed the blocking. I ascended the staircase. And I looked down at this corpse going, and I grabbed the body with both hands and I said, and Caesar, whom I loved. And the actor goes, raw! And he wakes up and he looks at the audience. And he looks at the audience, literally deer in the headlights. He's in the spotlight. He stares at the audience and then he goes back to sleep.
Oh.
And I carefully pull the shroud over him. And I'll tell you, LA Times hated me, but they said the risks that the actor took of Julius Caesar when he returned to the living, that is something even Shakespeare would not have predicted. It's like, yeah, nobody predicted it.
Yeah, but we know it was Donald Trump who played Julius Caesar. I'm going to give him a good review.
Touche. Yeah.
Oh.
And it was Fox News who just thought it was brilliant. They said it was the biggest Julius Caesar ever. Everyone says so. Obama's Shakespeare was much smaller, but they changed the laws, thankfully. And now Trump's Julius Caesar was much better. So touche, Larry Evans. Touche.
I am impressed that you could still deliver that speech, though, when all those things are going on in your head, because I think if it were me, I would have just run off the stage.
and I would not have blamed you. And the LA Times would have said, but Kathleen Rudolph, when she left the scene halfway, what a bold choice.
What a choice.
What a bold choice. Yeah, so I don't know if that was my greatest moment, but like you say, I had to juggle all these things in my mind.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The
So
audience probably didn't notice because years ago, and I won't name the show or the actress or the actors, I went to see a friend in a show at Theater in the Park. It was a good show, but one of the actors played a small role, was just very slow and very you just watched him. And I said, this guy is really good. And then I found out he was so drunk on stage that he couldn't get his lines out. And they called Ira David to come in and try to straighten out during the middle of the show. So
it wasn't me, was it?
no.
Okay, good. Because again, Kathleen, you didn't have to bring that
I
up
know,
in
I'm
front
sorry.
of everybody.
I'm so sorry.
We could have talked about that in our trailer. That's all I'm saying.
I know a little. Well, so my next question was, what is the funniest thing that ever happened? But I don't know that you can top that.
That was probably the medal winner right there.
But I have to say, and actually we all have a connection because Mick and I were in the dining room.
Right.
Together,
Yes.
and I directed Larry in the dining room here.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's awesome. But I have a funny story about you in the dining room, and it was at a rehearsal. It was probably the first dress rehearsal. But Larry, it was that scene at the birthday party with all the kids at the table.
Yeah.
And Mick played, and I played the adults in that birthday party scene. And Haskell at one point had directed me in a romantic move to pull Mick toward me.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the first dress rehearsal, it was a clip-on tie. And I pulled the tie and it came right off. And I remember the costume designer just falling out of the chair laughing because no one told her. And this was a quick change. That show is quick change. We change all the time. So she was trying to make it easy for you.
Of course.
And of course, then we just lost it. We couldn't even continue.
That's fantastic.
I wish I had known that because I would have had Dee grab my tie during a rehearsal just to get a laugh.
It was quite funny. Yeah.
That's awesome. We should have kept it.
I know.
That's awesome. That's
I
brilliant.
know.
That's actually brilliant. I love stuff like that. And now that's my whole career. Screw the LA Times. I'm just going to keep doing stuff off the wall. It's going to be a mistake. I'm going to keep it in. Who cares? Yeah. And that's some of the best stuff, really.
It is for sure.
If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you tell yourself other than what your agent and all your professors told you?
Listen to Larry Evans. He's got 3 very important lessons. Take a workshop from Larry Evans. Oh man, that's hard to say because I genuinely believe I did my best back then, and I still believe it now. I still believe I'm doing my best now. I guess I don't know. Keep souvenirs because I miss those moments where Kathleen rips off my tie and then throws it down on the ground and says, "I'll be in my trailer." And
I can't work like this.
I can't work like this. I'll be in my trailer. I wish I had that tie. You know what I mean? I wish I had some of the programs back from Raleigh Little Theater and Theater in the Park, and I wish I had the Much Ado About Nothing program. And Carmen still posts about it once in a while. She still gets memories. And it was tough back then, and it's still tough now. So I just wish I just wish I had that necktie. You know what I mean?
Well, you taught me something. If I could go to a film audition, I'm going to walk in backwards so they can't make their decision right away. They have to give them at least 25 seconds.
That's not a bad idea, dude. Seriously, because at least they'll remember that crap. According to legend, Robin Williams landed Mork from Ork because when he entered his audition, he sat down head first into the furniture, butt up. I'm not making this up. And this was his audition. And not only, Robin Williams was going to make it anyway, but according to the story, that was the first moment where that 90% where they decided, you know what, he's our guy. And they even put it in episodes. Like that's how Mork would sit from now on. Right. In Mork and Mindy. And you know what? Walking into an audition room backward,
that's brilliant.
You're probably not going to get the part anyway. So why not do it any way the hell you want? That's right. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. I was so stressed out about making these born again Christians happy and these nutcases who were all the casting directors. I didn't get the part anyway. Now I only know that for sure now. Right. But I might have told myself, you know what? Take the Larry Evans course of better auditioning and just enter backward one day. You're not going to get it anyway, and maybe they'll remember you. So, that's not bad advice. So to answer your question, I would take Larry Evans' advice and give it to myself back then. That's what I might do.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you want to do after we get out of this epidemic?
Oh man. One of the reasons why I moved out here. One, Dawson's Creek was canceled.
Yeah.
So there goes that career.
Pilot season.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So there were lots of reasons to come out here, and I'm still trying to make it work. But to answer your question, one of the reasons I came out here is there's this place called the Magic Castle, and it's this epicenter for magicians. Even when I was just an amateur magician, just a hobbyist, I'd heard about this place. And again, some of the best theater that I've ever seen has happened within its walls. And I steal whatever I can. And so to answer your question, I can't wait for the Magic Castle to reopen. I can't wait to see a show. I can't wait to be in a show. They give me one night a year to perform there. And apparently it's going to happen on Zoom now. But I can't wait. I can't wait to go back to the Magic Castle. I can't wait to have enough cash to get on a plane and see some freaking theater in North Carolina and see some of you people.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Amen. Yeah.
Oh man, I would love to have the cash to bring you fine people out here to check out the Magic Castle and all this crazy immersive theater that's happening.
Well, we would love it.
Yeah.
You know, the LA Times does review our Zoom sessions.
And they're gonna hate me, but they're gonna say, okay, one, when that dog peed on that router, what a bold choice.
Yeah.
What a bold choice. And Larry Evans has some good advice, but that Mick, he's a hack and he's inexperienced, apparently.
I'm gonna dub and say you were actually Justin Bateman in disguise.
There you go.
He was auditioning for a magician.
Yeah, they were hoping to get one day. They thought they got Jason Bateman like Ozark 2, and I'll show up and like, oh, we don't want to hurt his feelings. Who knows? I'll come in backwards. Yeah, I'll come in backwards. I'll rip off my necktie and throw a temper tantrum, and maybe they'll give me the part.
Oh my. Well, I do remember when, besides coming to our Cinco de Mayo parties, I did hire Mick to come to Michael's birthday party. My son, I don't know, he's 31 right now. So
you gotta be kidding me.
I think he was 8, I'm not sure. And the party was in my house, and Mick was so great and did all these amazing tricks, and then went outside to the cul-de-sac where he was juggling and doing all this stuff. And the kids were so, oh, I can do that. Oh, that's easy. And Mick would just look at me like, what?
And years later, they are all critics on the LA Times.
There you go.
So yeah, so it comes full circle.
It does. It's those kids from Cary. Yeah, that was.
Kids from Cary. They were the worst.
I got roped to playing Santa Claus at a Christmas party one time. When they paid me to come in, and I looked just like Santa Claus. And of course, for me, it's like I don't. But what's my motivation? Yeah, I mean, I just don't say ho ho ho. I mean.
I love it.
What's my motivation?
The money.
Right.
Right. I know. Well, Mick, thank you so much for joining us. This was
such an honor.
This has been a delight.
Really.
Like 17 and a half years later, I finally get to see you fine people.
I know. Tell us about your Zoom Magic Castle, though, because we could see it.
I'll read on the LA Times.
And they'll ban it, but you'll be like, okay, I'll watch it anyway. Maybe the dog won't pee on the router. Maybe I'll be able to see it. I will definitely do that. Thank you, guys.
Please do, and take care of yourself.
You too, guys.
And we will see each other one day in person. I know it.
I hope so.
It's been great.
Thank
you, guys.
Thanks,
you, guys.
Larry.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.